Hi, and welcome to Quantum Alchemist Master. Today I'm actually here with my son, Daniel. He had no idea that we were going to have this interview, which I think it's going to be pretty fun, and let's see what comes out of it. How do you feel about the surprise?
Surprised,
He's getting over a little cold that he had, and how do you feel? You think you'll be able to pull through?
a little scratchy in the voice, but I think I'll be fine.
Okay, great. So today is the launch of my second book, Becoming Your Own Quantum Alchemist Master. It goes a lot in depth into my own spiritual journey, my awakening process, a near death experience, and a lot of the ups and downs that I've been through in my journey that I want to share with everybody, with the hopes that it empowers you on your journey and you find a lot of courage, transcendence, and a lot of hope in the story. I always thought I wanted to share. I think all of us have a book inside of ourselves, and starting to find our voice, connect more and more with our heart, with our higher self, and start sharing it with others, understanding each other's perspectives of the world, of the universe, of ourselves. And hopefully, you'll find a lot of good information in the book. We have some questions that have come through that I wanted to take the time to answer, so that you guys can have a little bit of a background information as to how the book came about, and what we're all about. Do you want to go with the questions?
First question:
Oh, it sounds like a test. I don't know. Go ahead.
what is your why and purpose behind creating Quantum Alchemist Master?
My why and purpose. So, my why has changed throughout the years. I have a background as a nurse practitioner in healthcare for the past 10 years. Originally, my why, and I think this remains to this day, has always been about finding a way to help others, whether it was through healthcare that I did for a long time and still do, whether it was through real estate that I delved in that for a while as well, and other business ventures that I've had. It was always about how I can bring value to others because it gives me a sense of purpose. It helps me to wake up in the morning, um, knowing that I'm going to do my best, and that best might affect the life of someone else in a positive way. And that really fills my heart, to find that in every new project that I do, or in anything that I do. So I would say helping others helps me help myself in the way. It helps me to learn and grow along with everyone else in this journey. My purpose is to empower you to alchemize your life by looking within. I think, and I talk a lot about this in the book, that we've lost our connection to ourselves, our connection to source from within. And we dive a lot into tools that we have, that you can tap into to remember, because you already have this within yourself. It's just remembering how to tap into that higher intelligence, that inner knowledge, that inner compass that you already have within you. So my why and my purpose is to help others while helping myself grow, learn, walk together this spirit human journey.
And what was that pivotal point that led you to start the inner work?
Around 2018, and you know a lot about my life because you're my son, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't talk about with you because it's very personal. You might know kind of like the tip of the iceberg stuff that I go through, or you might be able to see some actions or the way I carry myself that has changed, especially since 2018. But it goes much deeper than that. And I think as you grow up and you get older, you'll start to understand that the dynamics of relationships, the dynamics of your own spiritual journey and your own awakening, And I try not to push any of my worldviews on you, and let you discover that by yourself. But since 2018, that was a pivotal point. With your other mom, we went through a big breakup. You're aware of that. And because I was not finding purpose in life, in my relationship, in who I lost a sense of self or of identity. I was going through a lot of questioning about the big questions in life. Why am I here? What is the purpose of all of this? Am I supposed to just like work and retire and die? Is that all there is to it? Where is God? And all these questions, existential questions I had. And once you're in a long-term relationship, there are stages in the relationship that can become stagnant because you're not working on yourself, because you're not doing your own inner growth, because you're not pouring into your own cup. So that happened to me, and it reflected on my relationship immediately. It was like filling a glass of water, and eventually just it overflowed. It was just a whole mess, just how I was inside. And we had to take some time apart. Luckily, both of us decided to work on our own inner growth, on ourselves. Um, and 2018, we had to sell the spa that we had, and we moved, and the relationship ended, and everything crumbled. And that's when we got to do the actual work, the inner work. That's where it all started.
And was there a specific moment or event that led to the awakening?
The separation.
And could you share a childhood moment that was difficult for you?
Yes. A childhood moment that was difficult for me uh, was when my dad left when I was 2. So I know it's not as traumatic as many other stories, but the way a child deals with different things, whether it's abandonment, abuse, worthiness, or whatever it um, is different for everybody. It can affect you in many areas of your life. So when my dad left, and in retrospect, and I've done a lot of the work with my dad to this day, um, and in myself, healing that wound over and over again, because sometimes it still comes up to be revisited from time to time. Um, but at that time, I was so young, and I felt that in order to not get hurt again or not feel abandoned again, I had to be very independent and start putting layers and layers upon layers of protection in my heart, so that I wouldn't be hurt again. And I learned to be very um, individual. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Just learning to be independent. That's the word I'm looking for. Very independent, and having to grow up very quickly. And I noticed that I developed a lot of my masculine qualities because I didn't have a good male figure in my life that would kind of help me balance my masculine and feminine at that time. So I've done a lot of work in regards to that. But yeah, that abandonment wound at the age of 2 was something that I've been working on and continue to work on. The most recent thing I did with my dad is he wrote me a seven page letter, telling me a lot of the stuff that he never said to me before. And I wrote him another letter telling him a lot of the stuff I never said to him. So we're a work in progress, still with that wound. But yeah, that's one thing.
And how would you compare your relationship to your father 10 years ago to now?
Oh man, 10 years ago, my ego and my personality were on the driver's seat. So I was just like, I disagreed with everything that he had to say, all of his worldviews, his, we call it machista kind of, like everything. I just could not agree on one thing with my dad, if looking back. And I couldn't understand his decision, his way of thinking. Yeah, it was chaos. And it took a while for me to develop compassion, love, understanding, and changing my perspective about him. Like, he literally did everything that he could, that he thought was good, um, with the level of awareness that he had, with the education that he had, with the tools that he had. And I'm getting a little sentimental talking about this. Give me a moment here. But yeah, my relationship today with my dad is we can literally sit down and talk about these wounds and just open up our hearts again. My dad is not a believer of a lot of the stuff that I talk about in the book, um, but he believes in me and the love that we have for each other, and that's enough. Like, it has been amazing how he has opened up. He has no idea about breath work, about meditation, about connecting with guides or higher self or anything of that matter. He wasn't raised that way. It was never in his level of awareness. But he's opened up to attending breathwork practices. He's opened up about meditating. He's opened up about so many things that I never thought that he would. And it's brought us closer and closer together. And I think the older I get, the more I understand him.
You've been forgiving to him. How have you been forgiving to yourself?
Ah, I could have thought about bringing you over here twice before bringing you on. Forgiving to myself, that was, and still is a big internal fight, forgiving myself for what I believe to be past mistakes. But if I try to zoom out a little bit and look at all those past mistakes, they were divine gifts and lessons, um, because I did not have not even a fourth of the level of awareness that I have right now. Um, and the way I perceive the spirit human journey is my perception of reality is so limited. It's like infinity 0.0001 of the actual reality, and even that is changing because as I grow, my perception changes constantly about the truth or about whatever it is that I believe in. And I have to learn to forgive myself, to love myself. Otherwise, I would be living a hell on earth rather than a heaven on earth, because all of it's inside of me. I can't run from me if I don't forgive myself, if I don't love myself. So I can travel the world and still I can't run from my thoughts. I can't run from myself. It's like being in jail with yourself. You can't separate the two. Now, there are tools that have helped me tremendously to separate myself or zoom out of this body and understand that I am more than just a body, right? So breathwork, transcendental breathwork, holotropic breath, there are tons of techniques that allow you um, to access altered level of consciousness. Plant medicine has been another big catalyst in my life and in my journey to accessing that broader view of myself, of my soul, of my higher self, of the world. Um, and it's, I was just talking to your mom, I think yesterday or the day before, and I told her, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have tools that allowed me to get out of my body. And I told her, but I don't mean it in a way of bypassing or running away from reality. I really mean in a way where I can remove myself for a moment and have a different understanding of this journey. Receive healing if I need to receive healing. Receive guidance if I need to receive guidance. Because it's very difficult when you're in darkness or you don't have a clear path of what next steps to take, where to go next. And this inner guidance, this intuition, tapping with that and learning how to work with that on a daily basis has changed my life. So I didn't have this access. I'm not really quite sure if I would be here talking to you because I was suicidal in 2018.
speaking on beliefs and everything on that, where do you stand with God? Has your perspective changed since you began to before you even began to now?
Wow. It's a very deep question. Um, it has changed very much. I was raised Catholic, and I've been searching for God. First, I denied God after getting out of the religion. For many years, I did not believe God existed. And then I went to look for God in many other religions. And I'm grateful for that because every religion has offered a gift. It has beautiful things and teachings that I've been able to take from each one of them. So I am grateful for every one of them. Um, and today, I see God in everyone and everything in every kingdom. I see God in you. I see God in myself. I see God in the people that have allowed us to use the space. Thank you guys. Um, in my dog, in the plants, and everywhere. God is the creation, is everything. The air, the elements, the water, it's everywhere. There is no separation in race, in gender, in religion. Of course, that may be my perspective, and maybe that could change down the road as it has changed so many times. But that's where I stand today. I believe that, or I want to think that maybe we should focus on the qualities of what God means rather than is it male or female? Is my God better than your God? Is it in church? Is it in my heart? Is it, in regards to that would be to just what are the qualities, some of the qualities of God? Love, compassion, unity. So, from that perspective, you know, I think if we all just moved a little bit closer to our hearts and to our connection, we would be operating from a God perspective.
So, would you agree with the statement, we're all God, we're all one God?
I would.
How do you put these beliefs and these practices into your everyday life? Not just taking it and just everyday life.
I'm a student of life, of God, of consciousness. The way I try to implement it is I try to do what makes me feel good. So far, what I do is, and not every day is a little bit different. Sometimes I have the time to do it, sometimes I don't have the time to do it, but as often as I can, I try to implement breath work, meditation, journaling, connecting with my guides, with my higher self, reading, painting, poetry. So far, I think tapping into joy will bring us closer to God. Whatever brings you joy. What brings you joy?
My joy comes from playing any kind of sport, whether it's pickleball with my friends or tennis with my mom or soccer with anybody in the soccer park that I don't even know. That brings me joy, and just anything that has to do with a sport or an activity.
Yeah, so I think when you tap into joy, you also tap into flow. It's like consciousness flowing through you. It's beautiful.
How do you put these beliefs into your businesses?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. The business is based on creating tools to help you access your infinite potential. All the questions you have, all those answers are inside of you. All of that business you want to manifest, all of those ideas, all of the voice that God gave you, your uniqueness, your imprint and parentheses in eternity, all of it is within you. It's like you're looking for that diamond, you're looking for the lotus flower in the mud. You have it already. You're already worthy, you're already loved, you're already perfect. It's just like taking layers and peeling layers of an onion and finding that gem that's already within you. So that's what we have in the business, tools that help you discover your gem that's inside of you and connect to your heart. That connection to source, to your heart, to universe within yourself.
Could you share a moment that you feel like your work and your business has really impacted someone or affected them positively? Well, I can I can answer some of that part of that question because I've been there. I went to an event um, not too long ago, a couple months ago, and all I did was just serve the cacao and give out fruits and chocolates and help people out, but just seeing everybody's testimonies after the event, everybody's there just crying, and you could see that people come out of there healed, and it's beautiful just even watching from outside, seeing all those people. You really have to be there so you could see what I'm talking about. So you can answer the second part.
Well, thank you for sharing your perspective on that. So we do have a lot of breathwork events that we do, that we dive very deep into connecting with your heart, into processing a lot of stored traumas and emotions and a lot of the stuff that we tend to suppress because we're adulting, we're growing up, we have bills to pay, we have kids to raise, and we rarely get a chance to sit with our pain or find ways to transcend that pain. The healing is inside of you, it's inside themselves. Um, and we're just guiding them and supporting them to go within. Everything that they need is inside. It's in the heart connection. And we've forgotten. We're distracted with everyday life. So that's an opportunity to shut down all distractions and go within, to find those answers, to find that healing.
Putting aside time and wealth and everything else, what does your dream life look like?
I was also talking, so a lot of the times when we go out walking, whether it's on the weekend or after dinner, I talk to your mom a lot about what I envision our life to be, different from the current reality. And I'm going to give you a two-part answer to that because it took me a long time to be okay with my current reality. Even though looking back, I have achieved so much from coming from a farm that we didn't have anything, from Cuba, that the resources were very scarce. I have achieved a lot in a short time. But in 2018, all of those achievements meant nothing to me. The money, the career, you could have burned it all. It had no meaning because I couldn't give it the meaning, right? You assign the meaning. And do you want to repeat the question one more time?
Putting aside time.
The future life. I got it. Sorry about that. The future life, I tell her, aside from all of that stuff and looking at where we're at now and just being grateful for everything we've transitioned, I look at my future life as involving health, wellness, and programs that serve others. I would love for the type of work that I do, I would love to bring it to prisons, to mental health, to rehab facilities, to healthcare workers, to first line workers, to people that, even corporate world, attorneys, people that are burnt out, that I've been there. I know what it feels like. So being able to bring tools that are not at their disposal or at their awareness, because you're on burnout mode, or you're on survival mode, or you're trying to not get killed in jail, or whatever it is. You're not thinking about personal growth. You're not thinking about peace. You're not thinking about heart connection. You're not thinking about connecting to source. So being able to bring the resources that we have learned and that have served us into spaces that is not available yet. I envision that. I envision continuing to improve myself from the inside out. Especially, I've been struggling a lot with my weight, with my hormones, with my, with my body. And it's easy for me to get out of my body and get into an altered state of consciousness. But it's gotten better now, but it was a lot harder to tune in with my body and with the here and now, with listening to my body, get into flow, get into movement, into mobility. So I've been doing a lot of yoga, calisthenics, and a lot of stuff that help me be more anchored and grounded in my body. So just learning a little bit more about all the moving parts. So the future would be involved in reference to health, wellness, personal growth, and bringing all the tools that we already have in all the places that we can, that it doesn't exist, that is not available yet. That's kind of like making a real impact in the world. That's what I would love.
You talk about envisioning and thinking into the future, how your life would be, and into the future. But you also believe in staying present. How do you put those two together? Because when you envision, you're thinking into the future, not in the now.
That's correct. And I will answer that. I struggled with that a lot. I was not happy to be where I was. I wanted to be in that future already yesterday. What's taking my guides and God so long anyway? So I fought with them back and forth a lot. And until I got to a point, it was October of last year, I had a Kundalini awakening. Had me hospitalized 2 times. I stopped eating solid foods for 3 weeks. So I had purees and liquids and stuff like that. And that was like a slap in the face. Like a spiritual slap in the face. And it put my whole perspective, my whole reality like upside down again. Another life and death and rebirth cycle of life. So that experience led me to be very focused in the now, in the here, in accepting what is without losing the focus and the vision of where I'm going. So I have a clear path. I could see where it's going. I could see that I'm being guided towards that highest version of myself and that highest path. However, I understand that God, my higher self, my guides, have me here in this place here and now for a purpose. So when I go to the office, for example, and I have conversations with my patients, these conversations go beyond health. They're about stuff that they're going through. Maybe I say a word, I recommend a book, I hug them. So it took me a while to understand that God has me where He needs me right now. And I am exactly where I need to be. Not ahead and not behind. And that a delay is not a denial. I'm exactly where I need to be because I'm growing my roots. I'm expanding my consciousness, my awareness, my love, my compassion, my patience. So I'm right where I need to be.
And what does success look like in this business,
or to me? So, yeah, success has changed so much. The definition of success. Before it was all about profit. How much money, what house, what car. That is, I want to enjoy the spirit human journey comfortable in a nice house with a nice car, stuff like that. But that is not my definition of success. My definition of success looks a lot different now. Is inner peace. It's love. It's compassion. It's being there for my family if they need me. Being there for myself. It involves self-love. It involves tapping into joy. It involves playing soccer. It involves writing poetry. It's all the little things that pour into my cup every day. Being able to do that. Being in a place where there is no war. Being in a place where my partner is somebody that supports me, believes in me. Where my children are healthy, where I'm healthy. Where I'm helping others without expecting anything in return. And everything else is just going to happen on its own.
and where does one who wants to get into this community, to find others, to share their stories, where does one look in this community? Where can one start?
So I would say a good place, I'm going to talk about myself and the community here in Miami. And that might be a good option for give you guys some ideas to look in your community. So there's a couple options. Online, I'm sure that whatever piques your interest, whether it's gaming, spirituality, sports, whatever it is, you follow people that probably have already built online communities. Because I see more and more people are being led to community for support, for growth, for getting to that next level. So look online to somebody that you admire and check, they might already have some sort of community. The other thing would be, if there isn't one near you, create one around what brings you joy, what brings you love. We have a group of friends that, aside from our events and stuff like that, that we try to do something together every month. That's fun. Like the next month we're going to be doing a cold plunge. Well, that's not very fun, but it's fun to see other people go into the cold plunge and kind of play around with it. You've been in the cold
Not
plunge.
fun.
How do you feel?
Not fun.
Not fun?
No.
Yeah. But it's fun to go with a group of people and kind of like play around with it. And it does have great benefits to it. So we try to always do something fun, something different within the community. So if there isn't one, build one. Build one with your family, with your friends. Like I was telling my mom and my aunts, because there's so many of us right now. They've been coming from Cuba, and it's gotten bigger and bigger. And I told them, we should, there's so many of us now, we should do a get together every other month and kind of share all the wisdom, of the feminine line and the family. I mean, my grandma's still alive. She has so much to share. My aunts, they've been through so much ups and downs and challenges and battles, and they've overcome cancers and relationship issues, and I would love, it would be an honor for me to learn from them and create that community within your family if they're open to it, right? And for example, it's funny you mentioned this, because my family, they have so many religions. Everybody believes something different. There are non-believers. We have many different things. And the one thing is love still carries us through, despite whatever, if your God is different than my God. And I think that's so important. I'm very lucky to be able to have a family that could see beyond that, that doesn't enforce their views of the world or their views of God upon the other person. Um, so yeah, if you don't have community around you, build one. Go to Eventbrite, and like I'm part of Miami Made, which is a big community here in Miami, and I found them on Eventbrite. Go on there, go search for community, for whatever it is that you're looking for. If it's breath work that you like, if it's meditation, if it's kundalini, if it's sound healing, if it's music, if it's creative workshops, poetry, go on there and check and start going to those events and put yourself out there, and open to getting to know new people.
Coming up and starting off as a nurse in the medical field, and dealing with every type of drug. In no book is there sound healing or plant medicine or meditation. It's all drugs.
Mm-hmm.
How were you able to shift from having to learn all these names and all these drugs and having only that in your head to now being able to see beyond that
Thank
through
you.
real medicine?
Thank you for that question. And first, as a nurse practitioner, I want to honor and respect our current medicine, because there has been a lot of advancement in the science field, and we've made a lot of progress, and there's a lot of good things that have come from our current Western medicine practices. And they can literally save your life if you need a surgery. There could be a drug that could save your life. I mean, there are its positives. However, as a first line of treatment, would I recommend that you start taking a hypertensive medication if that's your issue? No, I would say first line of treatment, we should look more as to all the plants, medicines that we have available to us. Before, our ancestors, they used to treat a lot of the stuff that we treat now with drugs with plants. So maybe we should shift our first line of treatment to something more organic, holistic. Try that first. Try to incorporate movement, exercise, this, that, changes in your diet. So try to incorporate that first. I don't want to take away from the drugs, but I do see your point to it. Especially when it comes to mental health, because I don't believe the medications are going to solve our mental health crisis. I believe it's a band-aid on something bigger. I also don't believe plant medicine alone or psychedelics is going to solve that. I believe it's going to be a combination. A combination, and then when you do any of the plant medicine, psychedelics, and so forth, and that is just my opinion, I'm not inciting anybody to go do it. we should be very, very careful. Those are sacred medicines to be taking extremely, extremely careful, with a lot of respect, in the right setting, with the right person. And it's not for everybody. Not because some people are special and some are not, but you just will know, and you will hear the calling of the medicine if it's something that you want to try. So I think the combination of a lot of stuff, there's a lot of good therapies out there. There's ketamine therapy. There's so many stuff. There's breath work. There's meditation, yoga, movement, art. Is a combination. Trying to, for me, how I moved, I know you asked me that and I've sidetracked a little bit, is because none of the traditional stuff was working. None of the Western medicine stuff was working. Therapy wasn't working. Medication wasn't working. None of that stuff was working. So what else was there? Or was I just going to give up on life? I mean, I did have that option, right? But I have some good reasons not to give up.
What did your calling sound like, or what did it look like?
I went to a breathwork event. And in this breathwork event, I saw myself in the center of the earth, taking away layers in front of Christ. And I took away the layers of being a nurse practitioner, being a mother, being a partner. Took away all the layers, and I was left in this little ball of energy, of love, of light. And I had a conversation, a deep conversation. And I just knew there was something more. I'm going to kind of leave it at that, for me to explore about myself, about my connection to source, to consciousness, to Mother Earth. And right away, immediately when the breathwork was over, I asked the facilitator, do you have a teacher? And he said, yes, but my teacher does ayahuasca, because he doesn't do breath work. And I said, I'm ready. Please let me have that contact information. He never advertised it. He never talked about it in the breath work. I went straight to him, and I just knew I had to do it. It's going to look different for everybody. And that is not the only way. I've had amazing breakthroughs just by using my own breath without the medicine. So there are tons of ways, chanting, drumming, writing, meditation, silent retreats, darkness retreats, sweat lodges. There's so many ways of connecting within that you can try, that it doesn't have to be just plant medicine alone. But that was a big catalyst for me. Yeah.
Who are you?
Ooh.
Or more, what are you?
Okay. So who am I? Infinite loving consciousness. And I would say, what am I? The same. Infinite loving consciousness, experiencing myself in human form as Rosalia Quintal. Ever changing, ever evolving, everlasting.